Hello everybody, my name is Santiago Peñalosa. I am here to talk about a few questions in the topic of prostitution as my oral part of my English exam. Okay, first question. Is prostitution allowed in countries around the world? The short answer it depends about the country. For example, in United States there are some states like Nevada, for example, that there is legal, but in other ones like Tennessee or Wisconsin isn't legal. For and in the case of the normal world, in Germany it's completely legal, but in New Zealand it was discriminated back in 2003. And in cases of Africa, Asia, and some countries in the Middle East, it is strictly forbidden, and in some cases this act can be punished by death. Okay. Question two: is prostitution allowed in Colombia? Yeah. In Colombia, prostitution is not a criminal offense for adults who practice it freely. Also, it is recognized as a legal economic activity when carried out voluntarily. However, it is not completely unrestricted. It is only permitted in assigned tolerance zones. In uh, zones established by each municipality, such as the Santa Fe neighborhood here in Bogota. Outside these zones, street prostitution can be fined, so it's what we call regulated tolerance, not full legalization. Okay. Do I do I consider prostitution a job? For me, is truly controversial. Uh, in the Colombian Constitutional Court says yes. So sex workers deserve legal protection, but personality calling it simply a job oversimplifies a very complex reality. It's like a normal job. Sorry for using this word, but I don't have any other word for this. Like I don't know, be a nurse. You can wake up and be other thing, but something like prostitution will follow you along of your life. It's a complex reality, and that can fuck you up in a lot of ways, psychologically or body healthy way. So in my opinion, it's a job, but it's more complicated than a normal job. Okay, okay. Is pornography a form of prostitution? For me, it's a psychological debate. Okay, essentially because in both cases a person receives money in exchange for sexual activity, but there is a difference. Some people point out is that pornography involves an audiovisual product and also generates more jobs. The illumination, the cameraman, the the guy who write the script, and other things. Uh, Also, is often protected under freedom of expression. However, many academics and feminist activities argue that structurally they are the same thing. A person sells access to their body for money. Personally, I would say there are two variations of the same phenomenon, used with different levels of socially visibility and acceptance. Okay, is there any law in Colombia against prostitution? Yes. Even though the fact itself is not a crime, several related activities are criminalized. Pimping is illegal. Human trafficking for sexual exploitation is a serious offense. And also the sexual exploitation of minors and people against their voluntary um, is isn't legal. So, in fact, the prostitution itself has really low regulations, but when a third person of a minor are involved, well, the things change. So, does our constitution need stronger laws? In my opinion, yes. And I only have a simple way to say it, and it's because Colombia is a paradise for sexual consumers. You know, Colombia have the is famous for easy drugs and sex. So, my opinion, yes, we have to be more strict with that regulations. But it's for me with the regulations about the who can access to this service. The other side of the coin is only around 43% of sex workers have access to healthcare. So we have to be more helpful with these people. It's for me, it's a hard question. Okay, what is the perception of Colombian society regarding prostitution? Mm, how I can say this? The Colombian society, in my opinion, it's the definition of a Spanish word, morronguería. And what is be morrongo or morronga? It's say a thing and in the exact minute want another one. For example, the same uncle who says, I woman only you only needed to fuck and cook you the dinner, no more. And 5 minutes later, he's crying and being miserable because nobody loves him. And this is the case for Colombia. The people in general loves the culture of money, women, drugs, and sex. It's the reality. A lot of people of my age, younger and older than me, only wants a girl like, for example, a supermodel or this cinema star Salma Hayek, for example, and no more. So they can they can pass a lot of time talking, imagine, and waiting for sex, but in the moment that is prostitution, the woman is a whore and they hate it. So, Colombian society for me is a hypocrisy society. I am in favor or against the prostitution. To be honest, I don't have the experience to answer this question. It's a really, really complicated topic for me.